All right. Is 2025 a rebuilding year for Tennessee? All right. The vast majority of you who've been online have said, yes, it is a rebuilding year. Some of you, small amount, say it wasn't until Nico left. And then the other option is, in Heupel's 5th year? No, not a rebuilding year. You tell us, look at that Hearthside Bank logo. There's a little QR code there. Point your smartphone at that, go along and play, and tell us what you think. I want to see that little those orange bars moving back and forth. So go ahead and tell us what you think. I'm going to read a little bit here. Chris Lowe, Max Olson, and Adam Rittenberg combined on a long story on the Tennessee Nico divorce. Came out Wednesday, I think. There were some new things in there. There were some details, some things that we'd heard hinted at. There were some timeline things that got straightened up. I just want to read some blurbs and get you folks to react. So it's story time. Ready?
Lock in.
Here we go. On December 28th, hours before the winter transfer portal closed, Tennessee sources say Iamaleava's representatives, including his father Nick, reached out to Spire Sports and were looking to increase his pay for 2025 to around $4 million. Okay. Sources close to the quarterback deny that they were seeking $4 million. Iamaleava wasn't returning phone calls from coaches at this point. This is December.
Yes.
This isn't April. This is December. Sources close to the quarterback said he needed to take a mental break following the Vols' 42-17 loss in the playoffs, but they acknowledged they did seriously consider entering his name in the portal. Tennessee sources say they believe that Iamaleava's reached out to several schools, including Miami, Ole Miss, and Oregon, to gauge interest. Tennessee coach Josh Heupel seemingly able to smooth things over and keep Nico, but they didn't give him more money. I'll give you my reaction because this validates what I've been saying for 3 weeks now. You should have done this in December. Mm-hmm. If he wasn't responding, if he's asking for $4 million and you weren't going to give it, if he's not answering coaches' calls, if that's true, if they're already shopping themselves to 3 other schools, this is a mistake on Tennessee's part. Yeah. You should have said then, we got better options in the portal now than trying to hang him around and make sure, what if he leaves in April? They should have been thinking that. They should have done this in December. If this is true, they should have made the call in December. That's my take, right? Wrong?
Right, I agree.
No, accurate.
The signs are there. 100%.
And it's the December 28th, he's not answering calls then. That's interesting.
Right.
Yeah. Like you can take the time off, but tell your coach, like, hey, I'm going to need a moment. That loss was really tough. I'm really, taking it hard. Then we have a couple of days, and then you can circle back. And I think, like you say, you were going to have better options at quarterback if you did it in the winter transfer portal than you are now, when it's kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel.
If anything else, it could have been suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. That's what I've said. That's what it is.
But I don't know. What do you suspend?
Well, I mean, if you're not talking to your coaches, they also miss some workouts. But I'm just saying.
Well, that's not in December, though.
Right. But you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
All right, skipping forward. You just went to it. Multiple sources at Tennessee told ESPN that Iamaleava missed 2 off-season workouts in February, and that his father told Tennessee coaches that Iamaleava's attorney advised him to skip the workouts until he worked things out with Spire Sports. Iamaleava's camp contends absence was over a payment issue with Spire. A Spire representative told ESPN there were no missed payments. Nick Iamaleava couldn't be reached for comment. The quarterback returned to workouts the next week, but his NIL deal remained unchanged. Thoughts, reactions, what are you believing there?
I'm not showing up to work if I'm not getting paid. John, I'm not showing up on the set unless you pay me to show up on the set. It's pretty.
It's been good seeing you.
This seems all fair, and everything is now pointing in one direction, but it still goes back to the first paper that you had. Those signs are there. It's just like a messy breakup. You know it's coming. Let's just split sides and just go our separate ways.
Yeah, it's a little like I keep finding my wife at hotels with guys, but I didn't think she'd ask for a divorce.
I don't think it was quite
that
that
she'd
bad.
ask for a divorce.
Exactly.
All right. Now I think you could pick up on the signs. Oh, yeah. When Chuck acts like somebody's gone too far, please. Okay. Any responses to the missed workouts thing there? I mean, again, they're not showing up and they say it's because they weren't getting paid. Why else would you miss 2 workouts in February?
Right.
Yeah, the holdouts are so strange to me in the college landscape, and I think that's why you're starting to see all these GMs. But I guess, like you say, if I'm not getting paid and I'm here to play to be paid.
Now, Spire says there were no payments missed.
So is that
but he
just
missed for something?
He said, she said. There's a lot of finger pointing.
There's a whole lot of, and that's the thing we'll get to in all this is these stories are just wildly opposite one another. Here's the next one. According to Tennessee sources, talks continued into spring between the collective and Iamaleava's side. There had been opportunities in place for Iamaleava to make well into the 6 figures in additional NIL earnings, one source said, if he agreed to certain appearances and requests, but he declined to do so. I spoke to somebody who told me that the response was he needs to focus on football.
Well,
In other words, here's another $500,000. We've come up with this. All you have to do is autographs and show
Yeah.
up. And it's like, no, I just want the money.
right. See, it was a pay-for-play thing. I mean, we ought to just call it what it was. Part of the
course, that's
NIL
the
deal is to
silliness of
show
all
up and do those things. We've seen them do them. West Town Mall. We've seen them
What's
all
the-
over
Not
the
everybody
place.
showed. Not all those guys show up to all
But
of
He
them.
did not.
still,
He did
your
not.
quarterback that's making top dollar is supposed to
Exactly.
be, and not, he ghosted them on some of those things too.
What is a collective?
He's not the only one, but yes.
How's a collective supposed to recoup the money that they give to a player if there isn't autograph sessions, if there isn't meet and greets, if there isn't appearances? I think that there's a little bit of blurred lines here of you're paying me to play and some. Your job says, hey, as well as duties as assigned. These are these et ceteras additions
Well, it's
that
name,
come with
image,
it.
likeness.
Right.
How am I going to get my investment back on the name,
Right.
image, likeness if you're not doing things that require
Exactly.
name,
They think
image,
it's-
likeness
yeah.
opportunities?
They-
It's not just, hey, let's go get Nico Iamaleava jerseys and see you in Neyland Stadium. We saw Brew McCoy and all his Cookie Monster
Yeah.
deals,
Right.
or Joe Milton on billboards. We didn't really see a ton of that with Nico.
We saw Brew on a
Some of these guys are great.
Mercedes-Benz, a car
Some of these
commercial.
guys are great about
Right.
it. Some of them don't show up for these things because they think I'm just getting paid to play football.
Well,
Now,
he's
you knew
right.
you're going to run into that with 85 football players. They're not all going to sit there and go, oh, I'll be there promptly at 3:30. That's not going to happen. I'm not defending Nico in this.
Yeah.
My other issue, though, is how they're going to recoup their money. That's one of the problems I have with the collective layout, not Tennessee's,
Yeah.
just all of them. What money are you recouping? It's supposed to be people are paying the players, you keep 10%. What do you, and yet for a lot of these, it's like, well, we're loaning you this money and we're going to make some money back.
Right.
That ain't the deal, pal.
Right.
I'm not big on that.
No.
As a matter of fact, I think all the collectives should have to open their books, and they won't do that.
Until there's a lawsuit or
They're not
something.
going to open their books. That's and that's why. Well, anyway, I'm not going to try and hurt anybody's collective, but I'm not a fan. All right.